The anime talks about the Republic of Sun Mongolia that is in war with her neighbors, the Gideon Empire. This war has been going for many years and both sides are using a technique of drones to minimize human loss during fights. So the government comes out every time to say that it's a war with no death, but in reality they use special drones named Juggernauts, and they are piloted by real humans called the 86, and they belong to the 86th district. They are known by their poorness, so they have no other choice except following the program. Major Valdina, known by Lena, is the youngest person ever to make it to the post of Major, and she's also known by treating the 86 as real human and not only pilots. One day her uncle, the General Karsol, informs her that she will be the new leader of the Spreadhead Squad, one of the most terrifying squads in the drone units. Her leader is nicknamed as the Undertaker, and this is due to his severe and cruel behavior with the commanders. It is also known that all the handlers of this unit requested to retire or change the units, and the most shocking thing is that some have even committed suicide. In this district, we see the soldiers fight normally until one of them gets badly injured. So here, the Undertaker, who's actually called Shin, is obliged to kill him since there is no medical treatment. At the same night, Lena introduces herself as the command and control officer, and now a new journey is about to begin. Shin, the commander, calls them all and explains the situation, so they have to take their position and wait for the sign to start fighting in their drones. Lena realizes how fast the team works and how good the soldiers are. The battle gets started and the team easily defeats the Legion drones, which prove that Shin is one of the best commanders in the country. After this, a teacher explains how the war got started years ago and how the Gideon Empire was wiped out 4 years ago by its own army made of Legion drones, and these legions can only hold for 6 years, so in about 2 years they will stop working. Lena heard how the teacher narrated without saying anything about the 86. So she interrupts and starts explaining the real truth that in the beginning of their country's creation, it got divided into 86 districts, and all the ones who didn't have white hair and white eyes were considered as not worthy of being humans. So they get transported to that isolated district called 86, and now they must follow the program by piloting an army of drones to kill the legions in the battlefield, and they are in danger all the time. Lena stands on their side and tells the students that the 86 are real humans just like them, and she's so certain since she works with them. They have brain as well as hearts, and they can be feeding families. The teacher and the government get angry at her, but she doesn't care, since her uncle is a very important general in the government and he will protect her no matter what she says. At night, she meets her friend Annette, who's the leader of the development team, and she tells her how impressed she is by the talent of the Undertaker and his team, and that he's so happy for being a part of this squad. And the next day, the soldiers enjoy the good weather and the temporary peace, and they play in the river. At night, when they gather again, we get to know Kurina, who's in love with Shin, and she is so jealous of Lena and how she talks to their leader, and she gets angry and leaves the room. Later, Lena keeps talking to the soldiers and get to know each one of them, and it is clear that the soldiers like her, but not all of them, since there are the ones who couldn't forgive how their parent died because of the white-haired community's beliefs. Then one soldier doubted the way she cares too much about them, and they warn her to stay away as much as she can. In the next battle, one of the commanders died, so her friend Theo started blaming Lena and her people for all this mess, and he asked her to stay away from them and told her that she didn't even ask to know their names, so she's not as good as she pretends. All the team members know that Theodore was harsh on the girl, and he made her cry even that she has nothing to do with the death of their friend. Now they are sure she will never call again since she got enough, and she will probably ask the general to change her unit and leave them forever. Indeed, the girl in the next morning takes her way to the office of her uncle to request a transfer, but on her way she recalls the day when her dead father took her to the district 86. And she realized that she's creating an unreal ideal. Even when she cared about them all, she still indirectly sees herself above them. Later at night, she calls Shin and asks for the true names of all the soldiers, and she apologizes for the way she acted and for the fact that she never asked them for their names. Then he tells her that the pilots who survive the longest must keep all the names of the dead soldiers written in a piece taken from their drone and remember them forever. Since he's the survivor, now he has the name of more than 500 soldiers. A few minutes later, the girl gets herself connected with the Spreadhead members and apologizes for not trying to know their names and making them feel they are not humans. The soldiers explain that as soon as she's safe in her house, they can never be equal, so she cannot oblige them to treat her that way. And at the end, they exchange their names after accepting her apology, and they accept her to keep commanding the unit. At the same night, she asks to know the true name of Undertaker, and after knowing his family name, she feels it's familiar and asks whether he knows a guy named Shuri who turns out to be his brother. A couple of years ago, the girl went with her father to the battlefield in the 86th district, where they were attacked by the enemy legion and her father got killed. Shuri was the pilot who saved her life then, a nice and kind guy. Unfortunately, he died 5 years ago. In the next morning, Shin tells Lena how much he misses his brother. Then suddenly, he tells her that the legion dragons are starting an attack on them. So the girl Lina gets confused since she didn't get informed about any new attacks today. She rushes to the controlling room where Shin asks her to cut her power link because there are many black sheep and she will not be happy while hearing some bad voices. Lina refused cutting the connection, and just like the boy told her, she started to hear some voices that seem familiar. She was confused, and suddenly she hears voices of dead people and she gets scared and loses control on her moves, but after a while she managed to calm herself down. By getting connected to Shin, he explains due to the huge number of times when he faced death, he can hear the dead voices from the Legion robots, and this is why he could detect an attack before Lina did. And he also can predict their position and what is their pattern in the battle. In addition to this, it's revealed that the Legion's central processing unit is modeled after a human brain, and if their design will stop functioning, it will be replaced with another one beforehand. Or we can say human brains, which means the Legion robots can copy brains of people they have killed in the battle. This is why many familiar voices come out from them. The black sheep who hide among the white ones are the ones who adopted the decayed brain structure of dead humans. And the Legion with these new designs won't shut down in 2 years, and the 86 cannot keep fighting forever. Only children are left. They all died in the past battles, so now the government must pay the cost of pushing the war into someone else. And the number of Legion is much bigger. The boy has an information about the most developed legions called the Shepherd, which adopted the undamaged brain of living humans, and they are capable to use the human intelligence to lead the unthinking sheep, forming by this more powerful armies. So now the government must kill all the legions before all the 86 will be wiped out. 5 years ago, Shin has found the dead body of his brother in his drone after losing a battle, but the brain was missing, so he concluded that his mental abilities and intelligence are still alive somewhere in the brain of a Legion. Today, the Legion robots are furiously attacking the spread head unit in this new battle, and this is why 2 pilots Daya and Lika die. And since the robot outsmarted them, Undertaker has to kill Daya as she's still alive in order to stop the Legion robots from taking her brain and using it for information. In the next morning, it's Lina's birthday, and she celebrates with her friend Annette, and after a small chat, it turns out that the pilots of the 86 will be killed if their power IDE devices will have a strange reaction in order to study their brains. Right after this, the girl rushes to her uncle's office asking for more military support in order to protect the soldiers' lives. He refused, and he orders them instead to attack a Legion base of operation that is under construction. The team has to accept because they must follow the program, and before going to sleep, Lina starts catching feeling for Shin. And the next day, it's the Revolution Festival, and Lina decides offering her team some fireworks so they can enjoy their beauty as well. Then she promised to keep asking for reinforcement, and somehow her uncle agrees even if he's not really convinced. The supplies now are sent to the unit, and then Andrew and her friend talking while showering about a secret which Lina doesn't know, and they hesitate telling her. Later, and while the Spreadhead members are celebrating and enjoying fireworks, they get bombarded with the long-range weapons. Lina in fear demands more reinforcement to help the team, but then they finally decide to reveal the secret they've been hiding. Spreadhead unit is an execution ground, and the replacements Lina was talking about are the processors that came after them, and all the ones who live in the 86th district are meant to die. Those alive are considered as heroes, but they keep fighting because they think dying to protect innocent people is much better than waiting for death to come to them. A revolution is about to start, and does the end of the 86th district really means the end? I hope you enjoyed this first part of the anime. See you in the next part. Until then, take care.